Welcome to That's What She Said. Today is sort of like a reunion. It's so exciting because we have Angie Marker in the house. Welcome, Angie Marker, who it could be a reunion because for many reasons. You were a speaker. We just keep getting our claws in you every way we can.
Yes.
So welcome to the show. So let's give it, before, in case you don't know, I'm Carrie Rosso.
I'm Jeanette Jerzyk.
I'm Carol Wackerlin.
And I'm Angie Marker.
Oh my gosh. Yay.
So give us a backstory before we talk about your involvement with She Said. Tell us who you are and who you shack up with and whose diapers you change.
Right. So I'm Angie Marker, like I said, and I was born and raised in Champaign, lived my whole life, a true townie, yes. And I am a mom and a wife. And I have two little guys, Johnny and Dean, who are both 4 right now. Johnny will be 5 in a couple weeks. And I have a fabulous husband, Danny, who I shack up with every night.
Lucky
More
man.
on that later.
That's right.
Easy Wackerlin.
So you were a speaker for She Said, and we consistently get feedback at how impactful it was.
One of the most powerful speeches we saw on that stage.
Mm-hmm. So let's go to a clip of that. For those of you who haven't seen it, let's take a looky-loo at that.
I had driven down for the day to have lunch, to shop, to talk, to go with you and your mom to your doctor's appointment. We were in a dark room, and I remember trying to stay out of the way. Standing in the corner, I watched the wand dance across your belly, and then I saw it. A little flicker, a heartbeat. I tried to hold back my tears, but they flowed so hot and fast down my cheeks. You asked if I was okay. I told you I'd just never seen a baby who was alive on a sonogram. None of my babies ever had hearts that flickered the way his did. And then you smiled because you got it. You got me.
So I'm no crier like some people.
Excuse me.
But the first time sitting in my living room that I heard your story, I was so blown away. And it was everything I could do. I was thinking of like all the happy thoughts I could to keep from crying. But it really is one of those pieces that sort of grabs your heart and wrenches it.
A story that a lot of people can relate to.
Parts of it, I think, definitely. Writing it and being up there on stage with Rachel, I couldn't get through it without crying. I can't watch it now without crying.
I mean, that's your truth. That's,
absolutely,
that's
yes.
a seed in your life that has, blossomed into lots of different things for you.
Totally.
And it explains how you can have 2 4-year-olds at the same time and not have twins.
Yeah, so we adopted Johnny and didn't know that we were pregnant at the same time. So surprise, we had Irish twins, 10 months apart. And, everyone says everything happens for a reason, and it's true. At the time when you're going through, the valleys, you don't want to believe that, but I made it to the other side, and we're just so very lucky, so very grateful to Rachel and Johnny's birth dad, too. So.
You do have that word. You have such a grateful heart, and you are always building other people up, and your whole life sort of like, I always feel like when people would say things when I wanted to be a mom and that hadn't happened yet, and people would say those things instead of being grateful, I always wanted to like poke their eyes out with a fork, it happens for a reason. Like I did not have a grateful heart. So I think that's what you put out into the world. You just consistently put out that.
Well, I try to do that. I haven't always been that way. I think we all struggle with, when you're not kind, maybe it's because you're not being kind to yourself or you're jealous. And I think that it's okay to admit that we all have those feelings from time to time. But I we've talked about this, you know, I think you're one of those people who doesn't try to put somebody else's candle out to make theirs brighter, and I try to live that way too. So yeah.
That's a good line.
It's not my line. She just shared something.
And the thing is sometimes you feel like if you put out someone's candle that yours will shine brighter, and it doesn't. It just makes you feel gross.
Right.
You know,
I've been
all been
on
there.
both sides of that probably
Right.
to say.
Right.
So,
Well, one of the things I love when you answered our 7 questions, and the last question was, what would you do if you weren't afraid?
Right.
And you said,
I said I would write more, and I would probably write a blog. I was a writer, majored in journalism, and I've sold cars for the past 13 years, so haven't been writing much. And after the show, and things have a way of working out how they're supposed to, I think, and I just felt this pull from the universe that I needed to take a leap and start a blog and write a little bit about our life and our experiences, and it's been really great and therapeutic, and kind of taken off in a way that I would have never expected. So I
We're
have
not
you to
surprised.
thank. I have you to thank for
We're
that.
not surprised.
And if our friends wanted to check you out on your
Yes.
blog, where would they go?
So my blog is hatandhermarkers.com. So you can check it out.
So tell me a little bit about, so you had this leap of faith and you said, okay, I answered this question, what would I do if I'm not afraid?
Yes.
What would I do if I wasn't afraid? But
Why is that scary to write?
why is it scary, and has it led to anything else
Sure.
other than a blog?
So I think just writing in an open and honest way, which I try to do, and being vulnerable is scary. That's the scary part about it. But I also think that's what attracts so many friends to the blog. I think people can appreciate sort of an open, honest view on all things.
There are stories that I've been inspired to write and share, and then I immediately go,
Yeah.
what if so-and-so read
Totally.
this? My parents
Yes.
can't read this. They can't
Yes.
know this about me. Like,
Right.
so it's how do you put that out there?
And that's part of it. So, I've written about my husband and our marriage, and I've written about our adoption, and I've written about friendships and saying sorry and all kinds of things. And the best ones, the blogs that I'm most proud of, I feel like I'm going to have diarrhea right before I press publish. And that's kind of how you know that this is going to be a good one. This is important, and people are going to appreciate and relate maybe to what I'm saying.
Well, correct
So,
me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that what you're building is a community when you have a blog.
which is what you guys
And
have
this
done
is
too.
building a
Yes.
community, and
Yeah.
I really believe that we're meant to do life in community with other people. You can keep your story to yourself,
Sure.
but once you kind of let that out, it frees you up to do a lot of other things.
and I love that you tell the whole story, because often I try not to do this anymore, but I found that I was cropping out anything that I didn't see as pretty. You know, if there were dishes
Sure.
on the counter, then
Sure.
like, oh, well, this is easy. I'm just going to crop that out. Or, if my
Oh, yeah.
flesh belt was sticking out, crop that out. And
I
that
show my
isn't
flesh belt.
Yes, like
Yes, I show
loud
my
and
flesh
proud
belt.
with your flesh belt. But that you're open and honest about their struggles, and
Yeah.
while I love my husband crazy, we struggle too.
Right.
Or whatever
No.
it's been.
And
Not
I-
me.
I think
No way.
it's
But you.
okay to say that, it can be very messy, but it can also be beautiful too, and to kind of celebrate both of those things. So while I may show a part of my flesh belt, I can also dress it up and feel good too, and I'm not ashamed to post a prettier picture.
So it's real.
of myself
It's all
too.
of
It's
it.
very
It's
real.
both sides.
Yeah, and I don't want to apologize for that either.
Right.
So sometimes I do cook in high heels, and people will say, "Why are you wearing high heels?" Because I like to.
Because I like to.
Right. So not all the time, but yeah, that's.
I wouldn't make it to the other side of the kitchen
No,
if I
you
wanted
wouldn't.
to.
Okay.
That would be really
So,
ugly.
Yeah.
Kitchen. What's the kitchen?
I know.
for?
I'm thinking we need to like
That's
back
where
it
you
way
cook?
up. That's where you cook.
I did not know
Yeah.
that.
See, I just know that that's where we keep the beer. So
Oh yeah.
I go in there every now
That's
and then
good.
while my
We
husband
have a
is
picture
cooking.
of a stove. This
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, it's
too.
good. Yeah. But sorry, I digress. But I love that you tell this whole story, that you can
I try
look like
to.
$1 million and like,
thanks.
but you know what, when I woke up, I didn't wake up like this. And
Well, I do.
and you
actually,
take
but
pride
yeah.
that you're very fit. I do look like this all the time.
That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah. I
No,
know.
I don't. I have a lot of makeup in hair. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't.
She
wake
doesn't
up
wear
like
lipstick
this.
to bed.
I don't.
But everything else looks just like that.
Yeah.
I've seen Carrie in the morning. It's not pretty.
It's not pretty.
It's not pretty.
It really is not.
I spend a lot of time in the kitchen. I love to cook and
Yeah.
prepare meals for my family. That's very important for me.
Right.
But I'll be honest, I'm wearing Crocs.
You
I
are.
mean, my
and I am
feet
some of
hurt.
the time too, for sure.
So,
yeah, flip flop.
There
A
it is.
good house slipper. But sometimes I throw on a nice stiletto too.
Yeah, so tell me what you're doing so once you made the decision to blog,
Yes.
did you find that you opened yourself up to other things that you didn't think you
Sure.
would
So
ever
once
do?
I did it and
good
realized
question.
it wasn't so scary, I thought about doing other things. You know, I'd had a career for 12 or 13 years selling cars, and it was wonderful. And I'd always kind of wondered if there was something else for me or something else out there. And it just kind of timed up right that there was a good point to exit kind of that part of my life and to jump into a career with a couple girlfriends, and we've been buying houses and fixing them up and selling them.
Flipping
and that's been flipping them, I guess,
Wow.
is what you would call it.
Very cool.
Which has been really fun and fun to work with girls that I love, and yeah.
Which
But it's-
I
it's-
love.
yeah.
I
You
think
love
that it's
houses.
I love houses, but I think one of the reasons I love houses and it connects to me so much is because whenever people say when there's an old dilapidated house and
Right.
it's empty, and I always think it isn't empty, it's full
Sure.
of stories.
Sure.
Oh,
And so when I saw this last house that you all bought and fixed up,
Yes.
and I thought, and when I was in there, someone said, well, the man who grew up here
Mm-hmm.
in this house lives, just over a street. And hearing those stories, and I thought it all loops back to
Well,
stories.
we all have a story, including a house. has a
Including
story.
houses.
It's true.
Yeah.
that's pretty profound.
We are profound.
Yes.
We are. So I love that you were willing to share your story and that you continue to find other ways to share it and to shine a light on people's stories.
And what it says to me is don't be afraid. Because the fact that you would leave a job that you did for 13 years,
Yeah.
thinking you could have stayed there for
Sure.
another 20
It
years.
was very comfortable. Yes,
And
absolutely.
the money's good, and the people, it's safe. But you took yourself out of safe.
Yeah. I think part of that is just listening to your heart too, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it. But I definitely would feel pulls in certain directions, and maybe instead of trying to stifle those pulls, kind of rolling with them, and then looking back and saying, okay, that's the reason that things happened the way they did. I think that's how my whole life has kind of played out, and probably all of us. So just
Well-
being open to.
And the being scared thing, because I'm always afraid. I mean, I'm afraid to try a new shampoo. So, those things make me, I pit out at the idea of change and trying new things. But for me, the point is do it anyway.
Yeah.
Even when I'm afraid. And I think every show, when we're backstage and,
Yeah.
I always remember Jill, one of our co-founders, us just sort of slapping each other backstage and getting in the moment and yes, we are terrified, but we're still going to go out there. And I think that is a good analogy for life and for what you do. Even if you are afraid to leave.
Yeah, I mean,
You
if
do
you
it.
think about it, you've seen those diagrams where there's your safe spot, but all the good stuff happens out here, and it's true. But getting there it's tough, and it's
Scary.
every day.
Everyone breathe.
Yeah.
Smell
Breathe in the
flower.
new. Shh. Push out the fear. Breathe in the new.
It's true.
Push out the fear.
Yeah, and redefining something Jeanette said the other day made me think of it. Redefining and rewriting your script.
Yeah,
The things
totally.
you would have never known when you started selling cars that this
Sure.
was part of your story.
You ever seen that T-shirt that says "My story's not over yet"?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, I think we all need those.
seriously,
Goodness.
we need to get those T-shirts. My story's not over yet. Don't give up on me because I got another good chapter coming.
Yeah. That's a
And that it's
beautiful
never too late to rewrite it.
thing. Right.
Yeah.
Your story can change.
Or not necessarily to rewrite even, but just to add a new chapter and a new adventure. Is kind of.
And you're doing it. It's so much fun to watch.
Well, thanks.
So thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for the coffee and the cup
You
that I
bet.
put in my lipstick.
Wait a second,
all
wait a second,
over.
wait a second.
Well-
I heard that there was a story to be told today.
Oh, and it might
That-
involve a thong.
I'm all ears.
I'm so sorry to out you, but
Not
you got
mine. It was not mine.
I hope she didn't have your
Oh,
thong.
I do have a thong story, but let's hear yours.
Well, this is just another one of my, I have a lot of these Mother of the Year moments, but one that I think we could maybe all relate to. I have two little boys, as I mentioned, and the youngest is Batman. He thinks he's Batman. If you see him, he always is dressed in Batman garb with a cape all the time. And I dropped him at preschool, just like I do every day, in his Batman cape. And when I picked him up, in his little cubby, along with all of the artwork he made, there was one of my black thongs in his cubby. And I thought, what in the...
Why did he bring my phone?
Yeah, right. And so his teacher said, well, that was hooked to the Velcro on his cape. So I had washed all of our darks together, and the poor little thing went off to Christian preschool with mommy's undergarment.
You can't be too prepared.
I think that is the best thing I've heard all week. That is fantastic.
But just trying to picture them pulling it, the elastic.
Like, what is this?
What is this?
Oh.
Yeah. At least it was clean.
Boys and girls, look
but
over there. Miss
Can I
Susan's
tell you
going to
one
teach you
other
something.
really good thong story?
Yes, please.
Please.
Not mine. When my mother is over 90, and when TSA started to do all the checking,
Yes.
she always got profiled, and she was like 80, over 80. And she got tired of being the one that was always profiled, and they always went through her luggage. So she went to a store and she bought a sequin thong. She put it at the top of her carry-on. And so the first time she went through security, the guy stopped her. He unzipped her bag. He looked in the suitcase. He looked at her. He looked back in the suitcase. He smiled and just set her on. And she hasn't
Clever.
used it again.
Very
It was
clever.
yeah, she was probably 85.
Oh.
That's a picture.
That's a good picture.
Well,
That's right.
yeah, underwear is apparently a uniter, especially thongs. So one day, I hear a friend of ours coming in the front door, and our dog is so excited to see him, but the dog at the time had gotten one of my thongs, and I hear our friend, a man, saying, "Oh, you got something in your mouth, buddy." And I can see from afar, I realize what it is, and I'm shouting like, "Don't touch it!"
Slow motion.
And I'm running, "Don't touch it, don't touch it." And he's like, "No, I'll get it, he's got something in." And it's stuck on his back, and the dog is like, and he's trying to pull it out, and it's like, slingshotting back in, and I finally I get there, and then I get it out, and I'm like,
Don't know what this could be.
sorry, like what? Sorry about that. But there it is.
It happens.
It
is what
happens.
It is.
I don't have any good thong stories, but I will say, as a mom of a 2 and 3 year old, I quite frequently find underwear in my purse that's not mine. But fortunately, it belongs to someone I know. But yeah, little panties, because we had to change or whatever, and so there's panties everywhere in my world.
For now.
Yeah.
That's true.
For now. Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's just leave it at that. And until next time, that's what she said.
That's what she said.
Thank you to the Virginia Theater for the She Said Studios, and thank you to Texture Home for making it look so pretty. And thank you to Columbia Street Roastery.
Cheers.
Cheers for our coffee.
Cheers.
Woo woo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Click, click, click.
All the way around.
Thank you.